What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Kay Unscripted, and I am your host, Kay. Today we're recapping Love is Blind Season 8, Episodes 10 and 11. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? If not, go ahead and like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe today. Episode 10 is called Spare Me. We begin the episode with Lauren, who said that Dave texted her to say that he was spending the night at a friend and that he wants to work on their relationship, but she hasn't been able to get a hold of him. Lauren, did he block you? Did his phone die? Is he with someone else? We don't know. But here comes Dave waltzing in the room. He sits next to her and he shares that he went to a bar with his friend and he tells her that his phone died. So Lauren was like, wait, what bar was it that you guys went to? And I was wondering, okay, did something happen? And she was trying to confirm something, which is why she kind of questioned him about what bar he went to. So apparently, some of the other contestants from the pod were at the same bar, and Molly was one of the people who was there too. And Dave tells Lauren that he rejected an offer to go meet Molly. I'm a little bit surprised because he couldn't wait to talk to Molly. But anyways, Lauren tells Dave that her parents are in town and they want to meet him, and he's just worried about them grilling him about why he hasn't moved past the situation. And as they should, because the only person who's dragging this thing out is you, Dave. Next, we see Monica and Joey meeting up with her sister Nicole, aka the hater, who apparently is a photographer, and she's taking professional pictures for them, engagement photos. I don't know if it's just me, but Monica's laugh is really annoying. Monica is like, listen, she's telling her sister Nicole, you were capital B to Joey for no reason. That man did nothing to you. So are you jealous or what? Well, she didn't say it like that, but I think that's what she meant to say, or at least in my head, that's how it came off. But Nicole was pretty much like, look, I was hating for no reason and I'm sorry. So Joey asked her, well, was there something about him that made her feel away? And Nicole says, well, it's your energy level. You're too hype. It's too much. Joey clocks her and says, listen, just because I have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that I am not an intelligent person. I do have intelligent conversations. And we have seen Joey having those intelligent conversations. Not many, but he has had them. Then we see Devin, who meets Virginia's mother, Mary. And Devin and Virginia, they do look cute together, but I don't think they will get married. I don't know, something is just a little bit off with Devin for me. The more I see him on camera, the more I get some kind of off vibes from him. Anyway, Devin is pretty much saying that he and Virginia connected on their faith. They both love helping people. Now, what I loved about this meetup is the fact that Mary, Virginia's mother, didn't just question Devin. She also questioned her daughter. And I felt like his family should have done the same instead of grilling that lady because she asked for a prenup. Devin was saying all of the right things, and Virginia's mom said, listen, this one right here, she's stubborn. And baby, Virginia rolled her eyes. She's like, wait a minute, I am not stubborn, but I'm definitely opinionated. However, I do listen to what other people's points of views are. And one thing about me, I will argue my point. The mom said, well, she likes Devin, and Virginia was like, well, wait a minute. You like his answers better than mine? And I think she knows her daughter well enough to know that Virginia may not say yes to Devin on the day. She might think that he's a sweet talker because he was saying all of the right things, but I don't think she thinks that they're ready for that commitment. Dave finally meets Lauren's mom, Kim, and so he's telling Miss Kim that they aligned in so many ways, but when he knew she was the right one for him, that kind of scared him. We then learn that Lauren's dad, Dave, doesn't want to be on camera and he does want to meet Dave. Her mom, Kim, asks, well, how about your dad, Dave? Does he want to meet my husband and I at all? And we see Dave giving a bunch of excuses again, like, oh, well, my dad travels a lot. He likes the warm weather. He's really busy. He doesn't have the time. He's saying a whole bunch of things that have nothing to do with the initial question. So at this point, we know that even her mom knows that he is not interested in marrying Lauren. Kim asks him, well, what does your sister need to come on board? Because he said that his sister was scared for him to get on the show and to be with someone who's looking for fame or to make him look bad. But sister, he's the one who's coming on the show to look for fame. He's the one who's making himself look bad. So Lauren's mom was giving a joke and she's like, well, does your sister know that Lauren is the most boring person in the world? She was just joking. But Dave, he went along with that. He's like, oh yes, she's so boring. She's not cute. I hate being around her. What? Now hear me out. I get that it was a little bit of sarcasm in his voice, but that wouldn't work for me. And it was coming off like he really meant those things about Lauren. His actions have definitely shown him not once standing up for Lauren. And Lauren mom says that, listen, your friends need to realize that this isn't about them. And you know what? There's enough things going on in this world to be worried about that. Spare me. This moment was a very interesting conversation between Virginia and Devin. So they were in bed together and they were talking about how the meeting went with her mom. So Virginia's asking him, well, is there anything we need to talk about? And I like seeing that because remember in the pods, Devin was really pushing Virginia to be a little bit more open. So now it kind of seems like he has shut down, or maybe he's not wanting to talk about certain things on camera. So she kept asking him, is there anything you want to talk about? Let's have these difficult conversations. And I kind of have the feeling that she wants to bring up something, but she doesn't know how to. So she's pushing him like, hey, let's talk. What's going to push your limit? What's going to make you pissed off? What is going to make you kick me out? And then he's like, well, we already had those conversations. We already talked about those things. And so even if y'all may have had the conversation in private, we want to know. We want to hear about it too. But I think Devin is also scared because he doesn't want to say the wrong things on camera. So Virginia says, well, what about politics? Immediately you can tell that he was uncomfortable with that topic. And he says he doesn't really have too much to say about it. Virginia shares that she usually votes Democratic. So he didn't really say where he votes. So I'm wondering, well, is Devin a Republican? And he doesn't want to say it out loud, but remember his mom is a Caucasian woman. So that may influence the family in a different way. Now, Devin did not want to talk about politics because he might be afraid that the world would judge his opinion. Next, we see Ben and Sarah, and Ben is meeting Sarah's sister Kelsey and her partner Lisa. Sarah is saying how things are so great with them. They have similar backgrounds. She brings up the conversation between them about equality, and she's saying how initially she felt dismissed by Ben, but he came back and redeemed himself. Now, Sarah is being fake AF. She's trying her best to sell Ben as this amazing guy. You guys are not connecting. Your values are different. Your beliefs are different. And I do not know why you're trying to convince your sisters, or maybe you're trying to convince yourself that he really does believe in equality when Ben doesn't. Sarah's sister Kelsey tells Ben that he's in a different privilege bucket than Sarah is. And the reality is that women go through things differently than men. Women get judged every single day. The way they dress, the way they speak, the way they look, you know, what happens to their bodies. Men do not have those same scrutiny to go underneath, and that's just the reality of it. Sarah's sister Kelsey and her partner tell Sarah that they're both struggling with this process, and they feel like they need to have more conversations. And I feel like they just see Ben for who he is, and they're just not really buying his act. Up next, we have Lauren and Dave, and they're on a bowling date. They're discussing what it's going to be like seeing the other girls from the pods, and Lauren says she just doesn't want other people's opinions because she knows they've been hearing things about their situation. Both Lauren and Dave, I think, care a little too much about what people think of them. And y'all, just when we thought we heard it all from Dave, he says that his sister didn't expect him to get this far through the process. And he led his sister to believe that he wasn't going to get serious with anyone. So, Dave, you lied. You manipulated the system. That's what you did, right? It's almost like Dave got permission from his sister to join the show. Now, that also means that you're wasting that lady's time because you knew all along that you wouldn't take the process seriously. We then learned that Dave met Lauren's dad, whose name is also Dave, off camera. And let me tell you, I think he probably lit up Dave's behind. Dave tells Lauren that it was a lot for him, and Lauren's like, oh, that's a lot? When your own sister doesn't even want to meet me. So Dave says his family doesn't just meet anyone, and he doesn't want to waste his sister's time either. Lauren, get your behind up and walk away. And this is where episode 10 ends, and we move into episode 11, which is called Sliding Down Slopes and Into DMs. So this episode is a continuation of the conversation between Dave and Lauren. They move into a different room, and again he's back on the story of her having a boyfriend before coming to the show. He's laying everything out, all of the information, and Lauren is so over this conversation, and quite frankly, so am I. He says that he had to ask her for the information, but I kind of disagree. Lauren, as we see, has been very transparent, and she's given him all the details that he needs. So Dave, at some point, you need to admit that you just want out of this relationship. And if that's what you want, then leave that lady alone. Lauren tells him, listen, I'm confused because just the other day you said you don't care about the situation, and now we're on this again. And he said, well, I'm bringing it up because your dad came at me crazy. So he's like, well, do they know? Do they know the full story? Because I have my reasons to be the way that I am. No, Dave, you don't. As a matter of fact, you told your own sister and you led her to believe that you were not serious about the process. So I am with Lauren's dad. Lauren tells him, listen, you're not ready to be in a relationship with anyone. Lauren, that's a good start. And I need you to come a little harder, okay? So David says, well, you're sounding a lot like your dad right now. And matter of fact, he didn't even want to come on the show to say what he wanted to say. And then he has the audacity to talk about my dad and my sister not wanting to meet y'all. Oh, baby, that would be the end of that conversation. But Lauren tells him, why is it on my family when your sister that you speak so much about didn't even want you to get engaged? And that's because she wants you to herself. She didn't say that, I did. But at this point, is that really his sister or his girlfriend? Lauren tells him, listen, I've been doing my part. You've met my friends. You've met my family. But you're keeping your family and your friends at bay. But she's the one who's not ready for a marriage? So hear what Dave said next. Dave said, well, if I really wanted my friends and my family to be here, they would be here. Oh, So you're the one who's holding off and not them. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Lauren tells him, well, if they're that important to you, then you could have told them how much of a priority our relationship is and moving forward with it. At least a phone call to meet me. So Dave says, well, I've been telling them how much of a great person you are and I love you so much. And Lauren says, well, I am not questioning the love you claim to have for me, but if you did say all of those things, you're telling me your sister wouldn't be excited for us and she wouldn't be excited and happy to meet me. I don't doubt that we have a connection, but I do question how you really feel about me. And Dave's just sitting there looking like a tomato. He ends up telling Lauren that his heart feels like it's the right thing for him to walk away. Then we see Dave in his confessional say he feels like he let Lauren down because he couldn't let go of his ego and his pride. Now, didn't I say that his ego was bruised? I did. Then we see all the engaged couples meet up, and I'm guessing this is the moment where they meet up with all the other pod friends. And so it's Taylor and Daniel, Ben and Sarah, Virginia and Devin, and Joey and Monica. The couples are sliding down the slope and, they're sliding together as a group. They're having fun. And then we see them going into a bar. They're eating, they're taking shots, and they're having a good old time. The guys are talking, and I think it was Daniel who asked if anyone knows how Dave is doing, and they're all like, well, I don't know. So maybe they also felt like Dave was being extra about the situation. I don't know. The guys even share their experiences with each other and how much the outside noises have affected them and how much they didn't expect to get so much outside noise since being on the show. And then we see the girls also together having a conversation talking about how it's been for them, about getting their marriage licenses and if they would take their spouse's last name or not. And then we see Lauren walk in and the guys come over to greet. And Ben and his big old mouth says, so you didn't come with Dave? And let me tell you, Taylor tell him, boy, shut your damn mouth. Shut up, Ben, who asked you? Too soon, Ben, too soon. Like he just doesn't know when to shut his mouth. Then we see Molly walk in. And then we also see Brittany, who's looking like the queen that she is. And then we see Molly and Lauren sitting together and they decide to have a conversation. Molly shares that she saw Dave at the bar and Tierra, who we didn't get to see on the show at all, told her, hey, look, it's Dave. You should go and say hi. And so Molly said, nah, I'm good. But she also tells Lauren that apparently there was this girl all over Dave. Molly's like, well, I don't want it to seem like I'm being messy, but somebody had to tell you. Lauren shares with her that she and Dave broke up, and she also shared the situation and what's been happening between them. So Molly asks the question we've all been asking, and she's like, so Dave has been celibate for years? Now, we know he's lying. We all know he's lying. But Molly was like, wait, he's been celibate? That makes so much sense. Molly Molly says, listen, that man should have had your back. He should have stood up for you. And Molly lets her know that she has her back. And if there's anything that she needs, please let her know. I love seeing that. This is not how I expected that conversation to go. But we love a girl's girl. Then we see Devin and Brittany having a sit down. And she tells him, you look like a baby. And that's because he is. He said, well, I'll take that as a compliment. Okay, then. She tells him that she thought he was a mature person. And so when he decided to share his secret with her and she shared her story with him, the way he responded was very immature. And, I agree with her. That was really immature of him. And she felt like he could have been a little bit more supportive. These two seemed very uncomfortable sitting together. I don't know, y'all. I just get this off kind of thing from Devin. And I feel like he's the type of person that doesn't like to be called out. Then we see Dave walk in and all the guys run up to meet him. And, he sits with the other men and he tells them he feels like it was his decision. Yes, it was. So you thought you would have done the same thing you did to Molly and have her break up with you so you could go back and say, oh, well, she's the one who decided to walk away. Lauren didn't let that happen. She made you make your decision. And while he's sitting with the guys, then we see Madison walk in. Immediately after, we see Mason and Meg walk in together holding hands. Wow, what a turn of events. I didn't see that one coming. So Meg said that when they left the pods, she saw she was done with Mason, but as soon as they got their phones, all she could think about was him. Now, we didn't see too much of a connection with these two, or at least in my opinion, but maybe there were conversations that made sense that we just didn't get to see. They also shared that they did their own little reveal. And then we see Madison in her confessional saying that she's glad that she and Mason didn't end up together, and he gives her the ick. Madison, we don't care about your opinion. And then we see Alex walking in, and as soon as he walks in, Madison is giving a story to Lauren about how she told Alex that she cannot promise that she won't have a bad day, and Alex said that's not good enough for him. I guess just giving her a rundown of why they didn't get engaged. Now, I don't remember the conversation going that way, but if that's the way Madison interpreted it, then that's fine. So she was like, as soon as we got our phones back, I get a message from Alex, and he's like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Please just stay with me. And then she also shared that Alex told her that Meg messaged him. And so she was insinuating that Meg was being disrespectful by sliding in Alex's DMs, not even knowing if they were engaged or not, or just the simple fact that they were together. She also said that apparently Meg told Alex he was her number one. So they're like, wait, when did this thing come about with Alex and Meg? I thought it was always Meg and Mason. So she says she doesn't know what to believe because Alex is a big liar. And she also shared that she asked him what he thought about Mason, and Alex was like, F Mason and F Meg. I don't know. Very interesting. That's all I have. Then we see Molly and Dave sitting together, and I was pleasantly also surprised with this conversation. Dave already starts talking a bunch of crap, and he's saying, oh, he's usually the one who messes up. And Molly's like, okay, are you trying to say that she messed up? And per usual, there's some deflecting happening. Molly said that based on what Lauren shared with her, it seems like Dave pushed her away for her to end their relationship. And he said he doesn't see it that way. And once again, he brings up his sister and his family knowing about the situation. And Molly's like, why didn't you defend your fiancé? And he said, I did. And Molly was like, well, you should have just told them, screw y'all, meet her first and then make your opinion of her. So Molly was like, why does that matter? And he said, well, what if it was the other way around? Molly said, well, she wouldn't have cared. And I also believe that Lauren would not have cared because we have seen her being so patient and understanding. And I think if the roles had reversed, she would have been just as patient and understanding to him. Molly then asked him, well, when was the last time you slept with someone? And he said, well, it's been a while. And she's low-key trolling him saying, oh, it's really been that long, huh? So Molly asks, well, is that the issue? And he says no. So she's like, well, why do you care? And of course, sister. But you know what the most bizarre part about this entire story with the sister was, for me, is that he said she gave him permission to go on the show. Earlier I said it seemed like she did, but Dave actually confirmed that his sister kind of gave him permission to go on the show, and she doesn't want him to get engaged. And that is a little bit of a strange behavior to me, sister. Why do you want him to yourself? Why don't you want him to get engaged? At this point, we need David's sister to join the group chat because we really need to know what's going on. So Molly just tells Dave, listen, you're just making excuses, and if you wanted her to meet your family, you would make it happen. Period, Molly. Period. Then we see him in his confessional, and he says how much he misses her and wishes he could have done things differently. So he goes up to talk to her and they share a church hug. He apologizes to her and finally says that it was his fault, it was his ego. Apparently, he had a light bulb moment where he realized that she's his person, and he's saying all of those nice words, but Lauren doesn't fall for it. She tells him, I want to believe you, but I am past this. Round of applause for Lauren for putting her feet down. Now it's 9 days before wedding day, and Sarah and Ben go to church and they meet Ben's friend Abe. I wasn't the only one uncomfortable with this scene because Sarah looked like she wanted to run out of that building. Meanwhile, Ben is sitting there looking like a princess and she's making all type of faces. I give her props for being open to going to church for Ben, but I can also tell that this is going to be problematic. We come to wedding dress fitting day. The ladies and their family members, they all gather together at a bridal store and they're greeted by Vanessa Lachey. And this is the moment where they get to pick their dresses. And on the other side, we see the men as well with their family members and they're ready to pick their tux. And they too are also greeted by Nick Lachey. I didn't like the setup for these scenes, especially the way the ladies were seated at the tables. I would have rather the more traditional setting on the nice cozy couches and stuff, but it might just be the way the store is set up, or maybe that's how they decided to set it up this season. I don't know. First up, we see Ben. He tries on his tux and he has two of his friends with him, Sam and Drew. And Sarah tries on her beautiful dress and she has her friend Mike and her sister Kelsey with her. Her dress looked so beautiful. Sarah's sister tells her that she knows that she has good judgment and she has a good intuition and she knows that she will make the right decision. AKA, you know Ben isn't your person, so tell him no. Next, Joey is with his friend Tim and his cousin Paul and he picks his tux. Now, I personally thought he would have gone for a Hawaiian look, but he didn't. I guess he decided to switch it up. He tells his friends that he won't have the answer until the wedding day itself. But he does say that Monica adds a lot of value to his life and he does want to go above and beyond for her. Then we see Monica, who has her mom Sandy and her friend Phoebe with her as she walks out in her gorgeous gown. All of those ladies had some really, really beautiful gowns. Then we see Daniel, who's with his brother Michael and his friend Nate as he tries on his tux, and he shares how much he and Taylor mesh together and how goofy she is, and he really needs that in his life. And then Taylor comes out in her beautiful princess gown and she has Daniel's mom Sally with her and her mother Connie. That was such a beautiful moment for me. Then we see Devin, who tries on his tux with his dad Willie and his brother-in-law T. And Virginia, oh Virginia, she stole the show with her dress. She had the most beautiful dress in my opinion. She looked amazing and she had her mom Mary with her and her friend Rhonda. This episode ends with Virginia and Devin having dinner together, and so she tells him that she printed out the prenup so he can have a look at it. And you could just tell that he's really uncomfortable with the whole prenup situation. She makes it clear that the prenup pretty much just says that they both live with what they come with into the relationship. Devin looks so uncomfortable. He tells her, well, what do you say to people who would probably say, well, why do you need a prenup if you're sure that the marriage is going to last? So Virginia says, well, that's not why people get a prenup. And he said, well, I know, but There's going to be people who say that. And I think he's really just referring to his family. Devin's family is not comfortable with Virginia presenting a prenup, but I think it's important for them to have a prenup, especially in this situation. And this is how the episode ends. We have just recapped Love is Blind season 8, episodes 10 and 11. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, like my video, subscribe to the channel, share it, and comment below. And I will be back with the recap of episode 12. See you guys next time.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted.